We are back with another episode of Dark Maga. Just kidding. The Bald Brad Show. Dark Maga is every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So make sure you join us, be there or be square. If you're new here, well, we cover all the major news headlines you need to know about. We do more of reactionary commentary, but don't be fooled. We also break down various pieces of articles, headlines, as well as videos to make sure, again, that you're thoroughly equipped with what's going on out there in the world. We are a conservative show, but to be fair, we pretty much just cover the news here. And, well, we're glad that you decided to join us this fine morning. Before you do anything, though, it is the holiday season. Christmas is right around the corner. So if you head over to baldbrad.com, we got some goodies over there for you, folks. This is our main page where we have different blogs, these articles you can read about the real intelligence scandal. We have the socialist threat, Zoran Mamdani, and why his agenda is going to destroy New York. If the Democrat Party allows him, that's a key caveat within the contract with Zoran. And we also have a book here called Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America. You get yourself a copy by just clicking on this link right here, and it'll take you to Amazon. We're also available at Barnes & Noble, I believe just online now. And then I've surprisingly keep seeing it at Walmart. I don't know. I don't have any involvement in this, but I did write the darn thing. It is a great book. It's a timely book. And you're going to really see the agenda in a way that most people don't talk about it. So it's a great gift idea, hardback, paper, Kindle, all that stuff's available on Amazon. And since it's coming up as Black Friday, well, Black Friday is in 5 days. You got to get yourself a copy today before it's sold out. And usually there's only like one in stock. I'm hoping that they print a bunch more for all of you, because you guys you like to grab those. And also there is a store. We have merchandise and all of those other goodies over there for you. And, well, let's jump into the news in a moment. I hope all of you had a lovely weekend. We're waiting for more people to kind of get their way in here. I am off the entire week, so we'll see how long the show goes on. We could be here for 4 or 5 hours for all I know. So you're going to want to buckle up. I'm still trying to wake up myself. Again, I'm on vacation. Surprisingly woke up feeling a little bit of icky today. I don't know. Icky means sick. It's weird. So, and it could just be because I finally hit vacation. And that's usually when you get sick, right? Is like, oh, finally your body relaxes. You feel tired all the time. You're like, what's going on? Am I dying? And let's hope that's not the case. All right, just making sure everything's set up here on my end. I apologize. I do everything myself for the most part. We do have some moderators that volunteer their time, which is always greatly appreciated. All righty. Well, we have Trump eyes Ukraine peace deal. Tennessee 7th in focus, and Wicked sweeps Hollywood. So we're going to kind of break down each one of these for all of you and make sure I get this correct here. Let's see if we could fit this way. There we go. That's what we're looking for. So as you can see here, President Trump is offering Russia and Ukraine a new peace deal and ramping up pressure on Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky to sign on. Now, Trump is going to be the chair of this whole thing. And so we're going to break this down a little bit further here. You have the White House giving out this 20-point plan that they're confident will benefit both sides. I'm not so sure how that benefits Ukraine other than continuing having their bleep pushed in, because they're losing a lot of territory. The plan, as it says right here, seems to be more favorable to Russia. Yeah, I would say so, but Russia also has the upper hand. I looked at a map recently of the current situation where the front lines are at between Russia and Ukraine. And it's as you would expect, nothing's really changed since Putin went into Ukraine. Other than, you know, the front line has moved forward, it's moved back, it's moved forward, it's moved back. But everything that that Vladimir Putin wants seems to be exactly where the front line is at. I would imagine if he wanted all of Ukraine, he would have just taken it. The reason why I'm bringing this up, I find it a little bit odd that a guy that has a country that's allegedly one of the superpowers of the world, and I shouldn't say allegedly, I mean, he does have nuclear warheads, has not gone and just taken the whole thing. Now, I'm not defending Putin. I'm merely saying it's a little bit odd that he's kind of just always been around the same exact territory that he also wants. And that's Donetsk, Luhansk, or whatever they're all called. I don't know what the regions are. Now, again, Trump has learned the hard kind of role of peacemaker in chief in his second term. I mean, the guy solved like 8 wars. You know, mind you, he's solved the ceasefire in Africa. He helped Saudi Arabia back into its strategic alignment with the United States again. And now turning to the bloodiest conflict in Europe since World War II. But this is just driving the headlines right here, which is why we keep talking about it. I mean, everybody wants this deal done. So here's what they're proposing. And we've talked about it a little bit before, but sometimes we forget. And it's important because this is what everybody's kind of coming to agreement with, allegedly. Allegedly is a big word in this one. No NATO membership ever. There's no NATO troops or bases on Ukrainian soil, which is fascinating. You were kind of hoping that we would get something out of the deal on that because we gave them hundreds of billions of dollars. You would think that we can get a nice airstrip out there. I always like that because it gives a little bit more safety guarantees for us and national security. That's why I personally don't mind being friendly with the Israelis because that's basically an aircraft carrier way out there. And I don't mind that one bit. You have here, this is where this part comes in. Right, if my mouse wants to work, there we go. The 600,000 personnel. So they're capped with this deal. They can't have more than 600,000 personnel, making Ukraine large enough to defend itself, but not large enough to threaten Russia. I'm not so sure. Excuse me. I'm not so sure that they would actually want to threaten Russia. It's a pretty ballsy thing to do for a small country like Ukraine. Russia keeps nearly everything it seized, and this is kind of the part that I was looking at, finding a little bit odd, that he hasn't really pushed past it. And I firmly do believe this. I don't have any evidence to believe it. It's just kind of like, it just makes sense. He hasn't gone past it. A little bit he has, and he was pushed back. But I just find it odd that, you know, is he just holding his ground till we can get a deal where he can just get this land? And as long as he holds that, he knows he's good. Ukraine must hold national elections within 100 days. Very well might see Zelensky out. And the question remains, we haven't really talked much about this, like what does Ukraine get out of this? Because that's pretty much everything for Russia. Well, they get an EU membership pathway. I'm still trying to figure out what that means, to be fair. Because you get a membership in the EU, but you're still not part of NATO. But many people in the EU are a part of NATO. So they're two separate things. And my question would be is, well, they're not part of NATO, but they're part of the European Union. They're also designated, I guess, as an ally through that, even though you're not really an ally on paper. It's very weird. This could get into a very dicey territory later on in the future, in my opinion. But my opinion does not matter, does it? $100 billion reconstruction fund paid for with frozen Russian assets. And then there's this, if you read the 28-point plan, they actually leaked it online. There's this vague security coordination with the West. But, and this is where I go to with the European Union membership. It's very odd when you read the language of it, but there's nothing that's even close to the Article 5 style guarantee that Zelensky wants. So we got that there for you. When I was doing a little bit more digging, on this European Union thing, because they have this vague right here. That's the part that I was getting to where it's very vague. You have Europe allegedly can't defend Ukraine without America, and America knows it. There's some weird stuff here. So the White House has already signaled privately that after nearly $200 billion in aid over the last 3 years, the U.S. support will not continue at the same levels, nor should it. We are $37 trillion in debt, and I would like to pay off my debt. It doesn't seem like we're going to, because everybody on Capitol Hill are a bunch of idiots, but we keep electing them. So guess what? That makes us a bunch of idiots too. Yes, there's a bunch of idiots running around. And Europe stockpiles are empty. Its factories can't even replace their artillery shells fast enough. And public support both in the US and Europe has collapsed. And to be fair, it's really nothing new about Americans not wanting or having an appetite for any sort of war. This has been going on since World War II, at least. People always forget this because we don't ever teach us in history. It just seems like, oh, yeah, we wanted to go in there and fight the Japanese. Oh, yeah, we just wanted to go in there and fight Hitler. Well, the Japanese kind of pulled us into that conflict in the Pacific with them. But even if you look at before Pearl Harbor happened on December 7th, 1941, there was not an appetite for the American people to get involved in that conflict. Churchill wanted it. I mean, Churchill was practically begging FDR to get involved in World War II. And FDR kept telling him, look, America doesn't want it. We don't have an appetite for it. And it's not our conflict. That's across the Atlantic. That's across the ocean. We don't need any of that. And I'm oversimplifying this, but you get what I'm talking about. And he just kept egging him on. And obviously, finally, he got his way. But there was a lot of key points that went into that for making that happen. Obviously, you got the Japanese, but that wasn't even really it that got us involved over there in Europe. So there's more deeper context to this whole deal than really anybody's talking about. And trust me, I've tried to listen to learn more about what's going on here. Nothing has really come out, maybe because the whole thing was leaked. And, well, there's still a lot going on behind the scenes. So the one thing that nobody's talking about here is Ukraine is running out of manpower, man. The average Ukrainian frontline soldier is now over 40 years old, and forced mobilization is hitting resistance, and desertion is rising, meaning they're running off the front lines. And then you also have Russia's military output has surged. So despite all these sanctions that Trump's putting in, Moscow's producing 3 times as many artillery shells as all of NATO combined. China and North Korea have quietly stepped in to fill the gaps. And this is something we've also talked about, where we're seeing kind of these flights turning off their beacon, their signal, their tracking devices as they're heading over to Russia. And then there's also just stuff being shipped in that is never being tracked in the first place. And that allegedly that we are tracking them on our end. And what I mean by like, we're not tracking it, you know how you see all those, you can actually go online and look at planes flying around. And that's how some people have actually tracked some of this stuff, was like, that's a weird undocumented plane flying over there. The U.S. intelligence community has admitted privately that Ukraine cannot reclaim the Donbass or Crimea under any realistic scenario. I still don't understand when you hear people talk about this conflict, that they really do believe that Ukraine's going to get these regions back. Like, they really fully believe it. And I don't know if there's like a weird thing where people aren't able to process a certain amount of information. Do you know what I mean? Or it's like, statistically, that's just not realistic. And I don't know if it's a lack of knowledge of statistics. Like, I could be wrong. I'm more than happy to be wrong. I'm just saying the likelihood that Ukraine's going to like start pulling this thing out is pretty low. So I don't know why they're admitting this privately. Maybe the privately was to Zelensky because Zelensky doesn't understand it. I don't know. You have Turkey, who's a NATO member, by the way, is pressuring Ukraine to compromise. Erdogan met with Zelensky just days ago, urging talks, because Zelensky doesn't want to back down. And we talked about that on Thursday or Friday. So here's the bottom line. Trump is betting that history will remember him as the president who ended the war. And I hope that is true, not just for that part of it, but there's a lot of young men that are passing away because of this. Ukraine is fighting for survival, which is true. And Russia is fighting for pride. More than pride. Russia's the a-hole in this whole thing. And Europe is terrified of being left alone holding the bill. Well, somebody has to pay for it, and I would like to be paid back that $200+ billion we gave them. Because there's a lot of corruption that's going on with that whole thing. There's a lot of corruption. And I would like to know exactly where our hard-earned taxpayer dollars went, because some people are saying it went into Zelensky's pocket. And I tend to believe that. Oh, do I? Well, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We do the show each and every morning, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'd really love for you to join us each morning. We got a great community of patriots and conservatives and independents. Surprisingly, mostly independents, which is always fun. That means we have people that disagree with us, which is always great to see. Because we don't have to always agree on things. We just have to be friendly. Alrighty, well, more news over here where Tennessee is holding a special election. And this is probably one of the bigger deals than what people realize. And Democrats on their end are treating this sucker like the Super Bowl, man. So Tennessee's 7th district, their congressional district, which is deep red, Trump 20-point seat, is holding a special election on December 2nd to replace retiring Congressman Mark Green. Now, when you hear a plus 20-point seat, this should be a snoozer. But you have to be asking yourselves, why is this news then? 20-point swing is insane. But the problem is, it's not a snoozer. Because Democrats believe that they could steal this seat. And they're spending money like it's Manhattan, man, not Middle Tennessee. So Democrats are out here sniffing around like Joe Biden sniffs a little girl, thinking there's going to be some sort of upset going on. Now this got you a little perked up, huh, Patriots? Going, okay, what's going on here? Well, Democrats have spent more than $1 million through the House Majority Pact, a massive number for a district Republicans normally win while sleepwalking. They're trying to build off of the wins in Virginia, New Jersey, Georgia earlier this month. And you also have Afton Bayan is being framed as Tennessee's AOC. You also have Kamala Harris and Representative Jasmine Crockett flying in to campaign on this thing. You also have outside groups from my home state of California, and then socialist New York are dumping money into Nashville suburbs, areas they think are drifting left culturally. But as always, there's something that the mainstream media is not talking about here. Democrats need a special election win right now. The reason why is they've lost multiple House seats through retirement, scandal, and also the whole redistricting thing. Now, Republicans currently hold a razor-thin majority, meaning that every single seat affects whether Speaker Mike Johnson can move legislation. Now, it doesn't really matter because he isn't moving legislation anyways. Just want to point out, it's been 10 months and we haven't really gotten anything done. We got the big, beautiful bill. That was it. I mean, I thought we were going to start cramming through voting stuff where you need to show ID. I mean, look, all of you admitted too, ain't much coming out of Mike Johnson, the House and the Senate for having basically all three branches. Mind you, the Senate's kind of a little bit tricky. I ain't happy about it. I mean, look, we got the big, beautiful bill. Whoop-de-doo, man. What else? We got to take hold of this stuff. If the Democrats flip Tennessee's 7th congressional district, then the media will declare that the House is now in play. And the reason why that's important is because once you start believing, people are really going to believe it, which is going to in turn donors are going to have a feeding frenzy, which are going to pour millions into 2026 midterms. And what you're going to get with that is a possibility of no red wave, but a blue wave. Now, if you didn't like the way that was worded, Republicans are going to get shellacked and they're going to get hammered. It's not going in a good direction, like at all. Democrats are trying to win a red district. They're trying to swing national momentum heading into the midterms. Now, we're still 20 points, which is great, but midterms always usually swing the other direction. You have a Republican named Matt Van Epps. Epps. He's West Point educated. Okay. A combat veteran. He's a Trump-endorsed conservative and former commissioner of Tennessee's General Services Department. Basically, he's the kind of candidate Republicans want in a district with massive military, law enforcement, and basically a Christian population. Now, what is this guy running on? Inflation relief, housing affordability, cutting regulations, lowering taxes, energy expansion, and aligning fully with Trump's America First agenda. He did an interview with the Daily Wire here, specifically their Morning Wire, and he said, quote, "I'm an American First conservative," end quote. That's what we want to hear. I mean, heck, I would love that. I would love to have somebody like that in California, let me tell you. But I'm stuck with these knuckleheads like Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass and Adam Schiff and a bunch of other knuckleheads. The Democrat, which I'm probably butchering the name, Afton Behan? I don't know. Just know that this is Tennessee's AOC, basically. Okay, they're calling this person Tennessee's AOC. Now, this individual, and I had to kind of go outside this article here to find out who the heck this is a person who backed heavily. She's backed heavily by the Tennessee Democratic Socialists of America. She publicly supported the anti-police protests in Nashville last year. She called for abolishing ICE and DHS on her live stream during the summer riots. And by the way, everything I'm reading is not in here. This is side stuff that you have to go out and look, because oddly enough, there's really not much on this person that the media is really covering. She has stated on camera that she believes, quote, Tennessee law enforcement should be denied federal cooperation authority, end quote. I don't know what it is with these leftists and authority. It's odd. If you're not wondering why I'm saying it's odd that a socialist doesn't like authority, because to push through their narrative, they actually have to have authority and utilize enforcement to get that authority done. It's really odd. And yes, she recorded herself bragging about trying to obstruct federal law enforcement operations. That's who this person is. So not a moderate Democrat, not even a purple district Democrat. This is a progressive activist trying to become the squad's newest member, trying to fit in with the clique. But it's odd because, again, it's a 20 plus seat for Republicans. So why are Democrats even targeting this seat? Seems a little bit odd. Now, I came up with two reasons here. One, special elections have weird turnouts, and clearly they might be knowing something that we don't. And then also, if you're looking at Nashville suburbs, surprisingly, they're shifting, but only with the margin. So if you go into like 2018, areas like Brentwood, Franklin, and South Nashville have seen influxes of tech transplants, remote workers, and wealthy coastal liberals, meaning people from my state are flocking to red states. And Democrats think that trend might be enough to put Tennessee 7 in play, even though most analysts still rate it likely Republican. And that's a big shift, man. That's a big shift, because what you're seeing is the same things happen in Texas. Texas used to be hardcore red. Texas is shifting a little bit. Some of these localities. And I mean, I don't need to preach to the choir here, but you guys know that for some reason these people vote for these crazy things in states like California, Oregon, Washington, all these places, and then they go try to live in your guys' states because they don't like the way that their states ran. And it's funny because some of their areas have been ran by Democrats for as long as many of us can even remember. And they blame Republicans for what's happening. So in their locality, they'll blame Donald Trump, a guy that doesn't even know that locality physically exists. I'm not calling him stupid. How many localities do you guys know across the United States? Probably 5, 10. We'll be generous. 100. I'll be generous. 100. There's a lot more than that. But they're going to blame Donald Trump for everything. And then because it's Trump's fault, I know none of this makes sense, by the way. I totally get it. They go to a red state and vote for the same stupid stuff they voted from their blue state. It's too expensive to live in California. It's too expensive to live in Oregon. Well, maybe if you guys didn't have a giant welfare state, maybe if you didn't increase taxes every voting election that we freaking have, maybe if you didn't have waste, fraud, and abuse, maybe if you didn't pay for illegals to have all this free stuff, maybe you have a little bit more money in your pocket and maybe you could afford a few things. A little bit too hard to ask, though, these people. Their brain don't work all the time. Brain not working. I've said it, just do it. Just do it for one tax season, maybe 2. Just put on the tax form on the 504 for the state of California. Just don't even budget the $12 billion or whatever for all these illegals to get all their free stuff. No free stuff whatsoever for illegals at all. I just want to prove a point here. On that 504, you get to check a box. You get to check a box that you would love to fund the support for illegal aliens. That's it. And then I want to see how many uncheck that box when they realize how much they're going to have to pay out of their taxes. And you want to know something? It's not 1,000. It's not 2,000. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And you know what's going to happen when they see that how much they owe because they're sure and heck not getting a refund? You know what they're going to do? You know, they're going to scroll back up to that 504. The 504 or 540? Can't remember. And they're going to uncheck that button. And then they might get a refund. Oh, this is nice. Oh, so all of a sudden you don't want to support this anymore, huh? I thought you were all about the illegals. Weird. Money talks. Oh, yes, does money talk. And you're going to see all these blue-haired, pigtailed weirdos all of a sudden not supporting illegal immigration anymore, huh? Yeah. That's how it works. You got to get them to feel the impact. Well, Wicked came out. And I've heard mixed reviews on it. Some people said they really liked this. Some people said they didn't. So Wicked's for Good saves the box office. I mean, Hollywood has been begging for a miracle. And this weekend seems like they finally got one. This sequel to last year's monster hit didn't just open strong. I mean, this sucker revived a dying box office, man. We're talking an industry that 2 months ago, in October, recorded its worst month in 30 years. And studios were panicking, man. The theaters were empty. If you go down to Universal, or I guess for me, it'd be up to Universal. I don't know if any of you have been on like back lots and stuff like that, where they film movies like those big hangars. Completely empty. And analysts were even coming out like asking if Hollywood was entering a permanent decline, like they're never going to recover. And then you got Wicked. Swoops in like a green witch on a broomstick, man, and pulls $228 million weekend. Now, to be fair, that's global. That's global. Domestically, I don't know if it has it here. Domestically, they brought in around 151 million. That's the biggest opening ever for a Broadway musical adaptation. Now, there hasn't been a ton of musical adaptations, to be fair. But if we were to kind of connect this, it even broke the PG pre-sale record, beating out films like Frozen, Inside Out, Toy Story 4, The Incredibles 2. Now, and that means anything. That's not fair. Or not fair. That's not normal. That's not even trending upward. That's like a shock to the system. That's like a vertical like spike if you look at it. But this is where things get a little bit interesting. And you kind of heard me talk about this at the beginning. The critics aren't loving it. But audiences don't care. But the weird thing is even audiences aren't really loving it all that much. So you have this weird dynamic going on. Now, to be fair, I never really look at what the critics are saying because they're idiots. They're no different than politicians. I don't look at what politicians are really saying all that much. They're idiots. I look at what the people are saying. Now, to be fair, people are idiots too. That's how I look at society. I'm sorry, but it's true. And all of you believe that too. People are stupid. People are really, really dumb. I'm dumb too, but at least I acknowledge it and I see it. The worst thing is when somebody thinks they're not dumb and they are dumb and they're walking around as if they're not dumb. Critics slapped it with a mediocre 59% on Metacritic and then 70% right here on Rotten Tomatoes. That's far below the first film. The first movie already used the strongest parts of the Broadway show, which had like the twist, the origin story, like the big emotional turns and the big songs like Defying Gravity. And the sequel here just had the leftovers. So it had a shorter runtime. I've heard that it felt longer, though, which is another odd thing because it's 20 minutes shorter. But people says it felt about an hour longer because there's simply not a lot of the actual story left to tell. They stretched out 2 movies, to make a little bit of moolah. I don't think it needed to be stretched out. But none of it really matters at the end of the day because they freaking pulled in a buttload of money. Also, to be fair, it wasn't even competing with other blockbusters. To even be more fair, it wasn't competing against anything. There was nothing at the movie theaters. There's no Marvel movie this season. There's no Star Wars. There's no Avatar. There's no Mission Impossible. There's no big family tentpole. Hollywood left holiday schedule completely empty. And Universal was the only studio smart enough to plant a flag. I don't think this is a revival. People are looking at it. I think they're calling it too soon, in my opinion. Hollywood is in a very rough situation. And do not think that they've woken up to this whole thing of, oh, maybe they're done with the woke ideology. No. No. That's not a thing for these people at all. They haven't woken up to anything. The executives at Disney, at Universal, at Warner Brothers, they love this woke agenda that's being peddled because everybody needs to be represented equally, all these other things, which isn't true, by the way. It's not. Because if everybody was to be shown equally, then you would actually have the proportion of representation on film as to what's actually shown in society of whatever society you're looking at. What do I mean by that? Well, if you have a show that is about a black family, then the proportion of blacks compared to whites that should be on that show should be a lot more, obviously. And then vice versa. But that's not what they're doing. Like, let's say you had a TV show about a white family. Well, somehow there's a bunch of black kids and black people in there. That's fine, but they're a part of the family, which doesn't happen too often. That doesn't mean I'm against it. I have an interracial marriage. We know what they're doing. Oh boy, do we know. Again, I got no problems having mixed TV shows. I've always said that race doesn't mean anything to me. I don't care what color you are. I don't care how much melanin you produce. I could give two bleeps. As long as you're a good person, that's all I care about. You try to make your life better, you try to make others better. That's what's important. Bill Maher and Laura Trump share flu shot illness stories. This happened to me. I'll share my story. I don't know what they're about to say here, but this is for some reason trending as of 15 minutes ago. Let's check this out here.
Who again has been accused for many years, way before you people got on the scene, of being an anti-vaxxer.
Oh,
even
were
though
you accused of that?
Before a lot of this shit came along, that was their main thing against me.
Really?
Yes, and I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I just said I would never get a flu shot because, first of all, the flu is always shifting.
That's correct.
So
you don't even know what strain is out there. No, neither do the people who manufacture the vaccine.
You're getting the strain from the last one.
Correct.
So it's not, and I remember I got a flu shot once and immediately got the flu.
I feel like everyone tells me that. My mom told me that. My mom was a nurse for forever. And she told me years ago, she was like, I just don't get the flu shot anymore because every time I've ever gotten it, I get the flu immediately after it.
Also, I believe that I should have the right to choose. I shouldn't, the coercion that went on during COVID, I was not down with that.
Terrible.
Okay. So you can see why the left is very skeptical of me on that issue.
Man, I got a story for all of you that's about this. Now, allegedly, this isn't a thing, according to what the doctors say, that you shouldn't be able to get the flu from the flu shot. Whatever. Believe what you want. I don't even know what I believe. I don't have an opinion on that. But I do know a few years ago, I don't actually get flu shots, really, unless like I'm for some reason at the doctor's and they're like, hey, you want to get your flu shot or whatever. There was a year, the last one I got, this had to have been like 3-4 years ago. I go and get a flu shot, and many of you know I work multiple jobs. And I had to referee a game that night. So after work, I get a flu shot. And I'm not feeling good, man. I didn't feel terrible to where I couldn't do a game. And usually when you're doing a game, you'll do like multiple, sets. So I do a game. And a guy that I've known for 20 years was working with me. And he just noticed I was off. And I noticed that I was off. I was starting to like, you're sweating because you're working more, but I was sweating. You getting just not like turning white. I was not feeling good. And this is the only time this has ever happened. We get in the locker room and he looks at me and I was pale. I was hurting, man. And I wasn't going to say anything because, I ain't no bitch. But I was messed up and I was feeling really, really sick. Extremely. Like, think of like if you had ever had COVID or if you had something else, I was messed up. And he goes, you all right? I go, yeah, I think I'm fine. And he's like, dude, mind you, he's known me for a long time. He goes, dude, you don't look good. And I said, no, I think I'm good. And he goes, no, you're no. And it's the only time ever. And I've been reffing since I was a teenager, 36 now. Tells you how long I've been doing it. It's the only time ever that I was sent home. Pulled me off the next game and sent me home, which is a big deal. And I went home and slept for like 16 hours. Needless to say, I've not gotten another flu shot since then. Bad. But I've read that that's not a thing. I don't, again, don't come at me. I'm telling you what I've read. Do I believe it? Being honest, I don't have an actual opinion on it. I don't know. My opinions try to be formulated with the best evidence that's available to me. I haven't really looked into it all that much to have really an opinion. Truthfully, I don't really care all that much. But that's just me. Border Patrol warns of non-English speakers holding commercial truck licenses. Yeah, thousands of them hold that.
I've got a lot of friends that have commercial driver's licenses. That is a very difficult exam. The training there for a commercial driver's license is very difficult for American citizens who speak English. How exactly, in many of these states, California especially, are these truck drivers passing an exam, a very difficult exam, when they can't even speak English? So I think that's problem number one.
I guarantee you, because they're holding the exam in their language. That's my guess. I could be wrong. I'm almost positive. I could have swore. The only reason I'm saying this is because when I went to go do my driver's test at the DMV, I remember that there was a bunch of non-English speaking people next to me, and it wasn't me profiling them. They were Mexicans, but it was because they didn't speak English. They were communicating in Spanish, and I was actually taking Spanish in high school at the time. This is why I actually was able to understand them. And they were saying, I don't speak English. Can I have a version of the test in Spanish? And I remember, and maybe I'm just remembering this wrong, and I must be. I could have swore they were giving them the test in Spanish. I am most likely wrong, because I just don't see that being a thing. That doesn't make sense to me, that you would give them a test in Spanish when they're going to need to know English to read the signs. Look, people's memories change after 10, 15, 20 years.
Let's take a look at how they're actually being issued those driver's licenses. I've not received a good answer from that on any of those states yet. I think that that bears a little more investigation. As far as the truck drivers, Border Patrol, ICE, and again, those allied law enforcement agencies, we're doing everything we can to take these illegal alien truck drivers off the streets before they kill more American citizens. We just got a couple of more there at one of the Border Patrol checkpoints in Southern California, and I know our ICE operatives there are also doing the same thing. So we're going really hard to identify these truck drivers and take them off the street. I think we're making a lot of headway in doing that.
Commander.
Well, we'll see. We'll see, because it's a problem. There's this, it's odd because there's this school. It's called Falcon Trucking School. And they specialize in helping foreigners get commercial driver's license. They say you can get it in 2 weeks or faster. Not to mention, almost every last person he records doesn't know English.
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, I got my certificate from
the school.
Yeah.
MashaAllah.
Yeah,
And then you graduate, you're working hard, and you're doing pass the test, you know. It's, everything is not easy. Everything is going, you know. But you get the last.
I got it in first class.
That's good. That's good.
What are people saying here? Let's check this out really quick. Did you know illegal immigrants can get driver's license in New Jersey? Did you also know New Jersey automatically registers voters at the DMV?
ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਰੀਸੈਂਟਲੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਟਰੱਕ ਦਾ ਲਾਇਸੈਂਸ ਲਿਆ ਹੈ ਭਾਜੀ ਰਿਸ਼ੀ ਭਾਜੀ ਹੁਣਾਂ ਤੋਂ A ਕਲਾਸ ਟਰੱਕ ਸਕੂਲ ਤੋਂ ਇਹ ਸੈਕਰਾਮੈਂਟੋ ਬਰਾਡਸ਼ਾ ਰੋਡ ਤੇ ਭਾਜੀ ਬੜੇ ਹੈਲਪ ਕੀਤੀ ਭਾਜੀ ਨੇ
Just because he's speaking a different language, I do want to point out that this could, he might be told, oh, we're recording this for whatever home country you're in to kind of get people to come over here and have a better life or whatever. And so he's like, okay, well, I'll just speak in, whatever language my people speak in to get the video out to them. That's what they could be doing, where this guy's a full-fledged American citizen. Yeah, I don't know. I try not to assume that this person is an illegal immigrant. They could be very well legal. I try to be careful. I do. Well, you might be wondering, how do we do a show each and every morning where we have so much energy? Well, let me tell you, it's what we're drinking, folks. You all know I don't start my day without two things: standing for what I believe in and a strong cup of coffee that does the same. That's why I drink Blackout Coffee, a 100% American company that's unapologetically patriotic. They're pro-Second Amendment and anti-woke, baby. They don't just roast incredible coffee. They stand for the very values this country was built on. That is God, family, and freedom. What's nice is every single bag is roasted in Florida, and they ship it straight to your door. There's none of this corporate garbage, no virtue signaling, just real coffee for real Americans. And if you're like me and you need to hit the ground running, try their Morning Reaper medium roast. It's bold, it's smooth, which is nice, and it kicks like a mule. It's going to wake you up quick. Or if you're into something a little bit darker, like Founding Fathers Dark, grab their 1776 blend. If you like your coffee dark, this is the one for you. It's rich, fearless, and roasted to perfection. You're not going to get that chemical taste that I find in a lot of coffees. This one is really, really good. It's tough to find a good coffee. That's why I'm very selective on which ones I give you an ad read for. Support a company that actually gives a damn about this country. They're hard to find too. We got one right here. Go to blackoutcoffee.com. That's blackoutcoffee.com/rumble and use code rumble for 20% off your first order. That's 20% off your first order. Blackout Coffee, wake up, stand up, and never back down. It's always nice to support a company that supports this great country and holds to the same values as you do, because as you know, a lot of these woke corporations are willing to take your money and then promote a bunch of narratives and stuff that have nothing to do with what you actually want in terms of your narratives and what's going to make this country great again. Wild stuff. There was also this terrible news that happened over the weekend. A woman was severely burned in CTA train attack. A 26-year-old remains in critical condition at a hospital burn unit, facing months of treatment and risks like optic nerve damage. Lawrence Reed, 50. This is crazy. Hold on a second. This is nuts. If you're reading ahead on this, there's this guy, Lawrence Reed, 50 years old. He had over 70 arrests and felony convictions, including a prior arson case. Carried out the Monday night attack on a Blue Line train despite wearing an ankle monitor from a recent battery charge. Prosecutors has warned a judge weeks earlier of his threat to the community, but he was released on monitoring that barred late night CTA travel. He now faces federal charges carrying a possible life sentence. He'll be out again. What's different this time compared to the other 70?
This is 26-year-old Bethany McGee, and earlier this week, she was set on fire on a train in Chicago by this fucking guy, Lawrence Reed, who was arrested 72 times prior. 70 fucking 2 in one county. And his most recent arrest was because he knocked out a social worker unconscious, and the prosecutors begged the judge to put him in jail, and the judge overruled them and set him free with an ankle monitor. And he was wearing that ankle monitor when he set Bethany on fire. She's 26 years old, and now she lays in a hospital in Chicago in critical condition because of liberal fucking policies. This shit's gotta stop. There's no fucking way somebody who has been arrested 72 fucking times, should be allowed to roam the streets, especially when a huge chunk of those arrests were felonies. What the fuck was he doing out?
Rip to the ears. I apologize for that cap cut at the end, but well, because it's racist. Yeah, he's black. It's racist to hold this guy behind bars. It's not his fault. Are you kidding me? It's not his fault. It's the system's fault, you guys. The system oppressed him. Republicans made it so this guy couldn't make it in life. It's all your fault, you freaking white people. Yeah, no. This is no different than anything else. This is a great guy. He just hasn't got his life together yet, but he will. He will. You just got to give him a chance. 72 plus chances. He'll get it though. It might take 100, but that's fine. No, she's white. I was told by the Democrat Party she's a white liberal woman. She deserves it. Yeah. She deserved to be lit on fire, according to the Democrats. Obviously, I'm being facetious. That's insane. But it's par for the course. The Democrats, you guys have been with me for almost 5 years. I have told you this for 5 years almost. I don't know if you believe me yet. Democrats love this stuff. I've said it time and time and time and time again. Some of you still don't believe me. There's like a sexual stimulant almost with these people. They love this shit. I live in this state. I see it. It's called California. I've lived here my entire life. It's euphoric to them. It's odd. I've talked to these people. You could see James Klug talk to these people on the streets in Huntington Beach. They're all about it. They're violent. They tried to kill Trump. They killed Charlie Kirk. They're into this stuff, man. I don't know what some of you need to see to wake up, but they will delete you.
Wrong way. There's one state where the economy isn't doing so well. Can you guess it? The biggest sanctuary state for illegal aliens? California. Its budget deficit has surged to $18 billion, which could balloon to $35 billion by 2027. And more than a few dollars of that budget deficit is benefiting illegal aliens in the state. The Trump administration is trying to put a stop to it, with the DOJ filing a lawsuit against Governor Newsom for giving illegal aliens in-state college tuition benefits. According to the Campaign for College Opportunity, there are over 80,000 illegals attending California colleges. Oh, I mean, Jason, I'm not surprised, right? I mean, that state, they love the illegal aliens, largest illegal alien population, largest homeless population, but they're the fourth largest economy in the world, Gavin says. Everything's great. It's hunky-dory.
They're here illegally. There should be, look, the legal, lawful way to come in this country, we take about 1 million people in every year. Those people get forgotten. They're almost, they're just idiots because they don't come in illegally. They treat, in California and other sanctuary cities, people that are here illegally better than they do the United States citizens who grew up here, who are paying their taxes, whose forefathers did it the right way. Yes, we're a nation of immigrants. I get that, but they came in legally and lawfully, and there's a difference. Don't just tell me immigrants. You got to determine for us, is it legal or illegal? 80,000. And why should I have to pay for that? Federal taxpayer dollars go to that as well.
Yep.
Oh, and Medi-Cal is also bankrupting the state. David, I know that you want.
No, like quite literally it is. That's the part where Gavin did not budget correctly. So you have this mixture that's happening. You have stuff like this taking place where you have 3 suspects combined for 125 arrests. I don't even know if this number is right. That actually seems low. Because this middle guy's 72 plus of that 125. I thought this guy had 30 priors. 30 or something like that, right? Didn't he? The guy that, deleted her. Notice it's always white women. So that's a weird thing. You got a mixture of this taking place. And then you got a mixture of also illegal aliens running the streets. And Democrats don't care. All these people, yeah, you got to give them a chance. Yeah, you got to give them a chance. We used to have the 3-strike rule. Not anymore. Now you can have as many convicted priors as you want. Again, I'm just going to plug it. You know what? I'll plug it. My book, Trojan Horse, How the Left's Destroying America, right here. You get yourself a copy today because you're seeing what's happening in real time. Their ideology has infiltrated our country, and you are seeing the collapse of the republic. I wouldn't have written it if I didn't believe in it. You want my true thoughts on what I think about a lot of things? You got to read the book. Got to read the book. I appreciate that. Beth says, hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget, people. Thank you. Yeah, don't forget. Don't forget about what helps me, makes my channel great again. All right, there's a couple other things I wanted to show all of you. Tim Burchett has a guest appearance on Benny Johnson's show. This was retweeted by the President of the United States, and Tim Burchett said that the Biden administration sold pardons and that NGO money is funneled back to politicians.
I got almost 1,000 NGOs, non-government organizations working out of Afghanistan. I had Marco Rubio in committee, and I asked him, we're giving the Taliban 40 million. This is just an example. 40 million a week. 2 years I've been working on this. I got a freaking memo from the dadgum State Department, and they're no friends of mine. They're no friends of this country. That's the deep state there ever was one.
Wow.
They have, they've told us that we've given them close to $5 billion. Whoa. And we're still doing it because it goes to the NGOs. The Democrats fought that amendment that we added NGOs into the bill. Why? Because there's 1,000 NGOs, and you know good and well that money's coming right back to Washington. That's what Elon told us. The paper trail runs right back. Now, can I find it? No, I don't have access to those kind of computers, but that's why they're squealing. They're squealing about it.
So squealing about USAID cuts, you're saying that our suspicions are confirmed that the money that's spent at USAID goes right back into Democrat campaign coffers.
Almost 100%. Almost 100%. There's still some Republicans, I think, if they are, you know, that's why leadership, they sent somebody to see me. They sent my buddy, and he sits beside me. Tim, man, some of the chairmen are kind of upset what you said, and, you know, go through all this stuff. And I said, but you know, it's the truth, right? He goes, well, yeah, we know it's the truth, but you just can't keep saying it. And I keep saying it. So that's why I always tell people I'm not suicidal.
You made a lot of news on our show saying that you believe that there could have been some real payola with some of these Biden
have
pardons.
To be 8,000 pardons. I said 2,000, and it's come out. Somebody said something
8,000.
8,000 freaking pardons. You think Joe couldn't remember what he'd had for breakfast? He couldn't remember what the dadgum bathroom was. And he reviewed 8,000 files on pardons. Give me a freaking break. This is so shady, and it's just Washington, D.C. It happens every day. That's the thing. It happens all the time. But with Trump in there, we're focusing on some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And every department.
You focus on it, but nothing ever happens. I love Tim. I think Tim's great. He's pushing forward on the UFO topic. He's pushing forward on all this, where the money's going. He's one of the lead guys that helps to get that $40 million stop that we're sending to the Taliban, our enemies. So I like Tim. The sad thing is that I see another Trey Gowdy, Jason Chaffetz in Tim, where I don't think he's going to be in Congress much longer because nothing ever gets done. He could try everything he wants to do, but if people don't want to change it, it ain't going to change. So he can only do so much. And at some point you get tired, man. It's like swimming up a river that's going in the opposite direction than you. You're just going to get tired, man. You know, I've had enough of this. It's allegedly why Marjorie Taylor Greene's dropping out. That's allegedly. And here's the thing. I can actually believe that. She said herself, you know, nobody wants to get anything done. Correct. They're a bunch of useless idiots up there. But like I said, we're idiots too because we keep voting for idiots in. Alrighty, folks. Well, that's the end of today's episode. We'll be back here tomorrow with more of the Ball of Brad show. Remember, we're not going to be available Wednesday or Thursday. Thursday's Thanksgiving. So we're going to be here Tuesday, maybe Wednesday morning, actually. We might be here Wednesday morning. We might be. But definitely tomorrow. We'll also have Dark MAGA open to everybody tomorrow. So I hope all of you have a lovely day. Pray for this country. Pray for Donald Trump. And we'll see you tomorrow here on The Bob Brad Show. Take care, Patriots.